That's up front along the offensive line. Can they be better against a Texas defense that's been pretty good so far this year? We'll see. We'll discuss coming up on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there that are tuning in, subscribed. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The offensive line was better against Auburn. Still not great. Might not even be able to call it good, but the run game was improved. The pass blocking situation was improved. According to Pro Football Focus, it was their best performance of the season in total. But Brent Venables discussed it and said, hey, they got to be better.
Yeah, he did. And so one of the quotes that he put out there, he said, we've got to be better. We did some good things against Auburn, not good enough. The bottom line result hasn't been good enough. And so he's pointing out that, the team hasn't played at the standard that we would have liked. But the good thing is that he does believe that now that we've got continuity, that's going to help long term. Look at it this way, John. We've got the starting five and a backup that are quote unquote healthy right now. Something we haven't seen. And this has been 2 weeks in a row, going now into our third week. Third game, that is, 4 weeks that we've actually had offensive linemen practice together that are going to play together.
Yeah.
Kind of unreal if you want to be honest.
It's huge. It's so important. Duke Manningweather, who's an offensive line trainer, trains Tyler Guyton, among a number of other NFL greats, probably some college guys as well. He said it can take 6 to 7 weeks for an offensive line to gel. Yep. Well, we're going on week 6 now, but it might be a little bit slower developmental process for Oklahoma because they had so many guys dinged up and in and out of the lineup. But you've got the 5 guys you projected to be starters entering the season, plus Troy Everett. The one guy that was going to be in your top 7 that isn't available, that's Gary Hatchett. He's gone for the season. But Heath Ozide is available, so you've got your starting 5 available, and that's huge, man. To be able to have the Auburn game plus 2 weeks of practice to get ready for the Red River Showdown, dude, the bye week could not have come at a better time for Oklahoma because it allows those guys to stay healthy and continue to improve and gel and work on their communication, work with Michael Hawkins, work with the run game to try and get better heading into the Texas game. If there's one area where I feel like I still have a little bit of question and I still need to see them prove their worth, it's the offensive line. And if they can do that against Texas and they can provide a run game that's consistent through 4 quarters and protect Michael Hawkins fairly well, then I'll feel really good about where they're headed for the rest of the season. That might not even lead to an Oklahoma win this week, but it can still be better and Oklahoma still not win. It just has to be better. It has to be. You can't average, what are they averaging, like 3 yards per carry? If you take quarterback rushes out of the equation, you can't be that and be at Oklahoma. That's just not good enough for Oklahoma football. Again, injuries happen. They're not an excuse, but it is context for what's gone down. It's got to be better.
Yeah, and right now having 5 guys that have been able to play together and then a 6th guy that can rotate and all be healthy, like I said, that's a big plus. Some of the young guys that we would have liked to have seen on the field were also a little banged up, so trying to get them not only acclimated at the collegiate level, but also you want to get them healthy. So I know that we'll be breaking in a lot more people as the season progresses, go in preparation for next season, in which next season should be, of course, a lot more hype because Hawkins will have a full year under his belt. You'll be prepared and you have an idea what you're going to get out of him. The run game will figure things out more, which that's kind of where I'm looking at when it comes to the offensive line. How are we going to do when it comes to open up those lanes for these running backs to be able to hit some holes? That's going to be critical in this game against Texas. The most important thing, the one thing that Mississippi State did well in that game, not only did they run the ball like 50 times, more so, with Michael Van Buren being the freshman quarterback out there, but they also caused a lot of turnovers. And so running the ball is going to be critical to take the time off of Texas, keep them off the field, basically playing keep away, while at the same time just moving up the field and getting points and putting points on the board. That's going to do nothing but add some, get some confidence in this team. I'm just ready to see what tricks and stuff we pull out with Hawkins and the team as we, go up against Texas? What are we going to do that they're not going to be prepared for?
Yeah, and I think Michael Hawkins will be a big factor in the ground game. At the same time, you don't want to run him 15 times a game. He's not built to withstand that. I mean, he's tough. I'm not saying he's not a tough dude, but just his frame. He's not a Jalen Hurts type runner. He has to get into space like Kyler Murray did and use his speed and his quickness and then get down. He's taking some hits. You don't want him taking a bunch of hits every single time he's out there on the field. But it will be a big aspect of this game is, can they contain Michael Hawkins and his speed? Because we saw Auburn struggle with that in the first quarter, had to make some adjustments, and then it got better, and they were able to slow some things down. I imagine that Texas will come into this planning to use a guy like Anthony Hill to spy Michael Hawkins early in the game, but that should open some things up in the passing game and in the run game, especially in the read option game where he's trying to make a decision to hand the ball off or keep it himself and run it. I think that can help out Oklahoma and open some things up. But in the traditional run game, you've got to find some more consistency. It was better against Auburn. It allowed you to be in some better, more manageable down and distances in that game, especially in the first half and in the third quarter. You got to find more of that. You got to find more 5-yard carries, 6-yard carries, because there weren't nearly as many negative plays or 0-yard carries against Auburn. So that's a step in the right direction. Now you got to take that a step further and gash them. You got to find some of those gash plays with Taylor Tatum, Javonte Barnes, where you're picking up a 15-yard play, a 7-yard play, and you're putting yourself in a 2nd and 3rd, as opposed to always playing from 2nd and 7 or 3rd and 5. So if they can take that step, it gives Oklahoma a great chance to win this game.
Yeah, it does. If as long as you can get the ball, not even keep the ball moving, just run some time off the clock.
Yeah.
That's really the most important thing, is keeping your defense off the field and burning that clock. I mean, that was honestly the recipe for Vanderbilt in winning that game against Alabama. It was really keeping Bama off the field and just consistently getting the first down, keeping the plays going. I think they only had one possession all game that was only 4 plays. The rest of them were over 4 plays. They were 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 15. And I think that this team can do that. I think that Michael Hawkins is good enough to not only get some yards with his legs, and like you said, he does need to work on sliding. He'll get good at that, right? He'll get good at avoiding taking big hits, a la Lamar Jackson, who does a really good job of scrambling, but never gets leveled. He does a good job of getting his body and contorting his way to the ground to where you can't actually connect like you would like. Hawkins can grow up and get into that capacity, but the biggest thing is keeping the sticks going. And so being successful, like Brent Venables says, on the first down, once you get more success on first, you don't have to get a first down immediately, but getting 5 yards, 6 yards to where it's 2nd and short and then 3rd and short, and then you can continue to drive through that. Getting that 3rd down efficiency number up, it's going to be critical for this team moving forward.
Yeah, if the offense can take a step forward, it's going to give Oklahoma a chance, because the defense is going to give Oklahoma a chance.
Yeah,
you just got to see the offense find more consistency. We've seen some big plays. We've seen a few good drives here and there. Now it's about consistency. It's about not hurting yourself with penalties, not with turnovers, and be able to string together several drives throughout the game that gives you a chance to score 20, 24, 27 points and have a chance to win the game. One guy that's going to give him a chance, he's making the switch.